Supposing you did provide health insurance, it has to be insurance approved of by the federal government. I got that.
That is correct.
Roughly how much? For a restaurant with 300 people, roughly how much?
We've calculated it will be some millions of dollars across our system. Yep. Some millions. So what does that say? That says we won't build more restaurants, we won't hire more people. It'll exactly the opposite effect of what the president.
That was the CEO for a big group of Applebee's restaurants last week, explaining the reality for America's business owners now that the president's health care law appears to be here to stay. He spoke out late last week as a growing number of reports that many businesses are considering plans to reduce their workforce or slash hours for hundreds of employees. Papa John's Pizza, another company, suggesting that course of action as well. Both restaurant chains are now coming under fire, being attacked as un-American. Lou Dobbs, a great American and host of Lou Dobbs Tonight on Fox Business Channel, joins us now. Lou, what do you make of this? People are saying they're retaliating against President Obama for being reelected, and that's what this is all about.
Yeah. And that's unfortunate because it is the mark of our times that people are looking at everything in these sort of petty partisan views. They don't understand that when people tell you that Obamacare will cost us billions and billions of dollars and business will be impaired in what it can do because of the onerous cost of Obamacare, they mean it. They actually have consequences. You know, the president says elections have consequences. One of them is Obamacare is, as John Boehner put it the other day, that, you know, it's the law of the land. That means that businesses are going to be laying people off. That means that over 8 million Americans who are part-time are going to continue to work part-time until we see a real resurgence in this economy, certainly, because it's just not economical for the employer to move ahead. It's cheaper for them, in fact, to pay a $2,000 fine. Imagine this. To pay $2,000 for an employee they didn't hire, who they've hired, and not put them on an employee-sponsored insurance plan. This is the exact reverse effect of what we had been told would occur. But we should be used to that because so many of the consequences have not been intended because they were never thought out by this Congress, the previous Congress, and we're looking at people saying it's partisanship. Let me give you an example of why that's pure bull, if I may, Shannon.
Please do.
One of the many companies that are laying off people is a company called Stryker. Stryker is one of the medical device makers. It's one of the biggest in the world. Now, Stryker is going to close, well, it's already, in fact, closed a facility in Orchard Park, New York. They're eliminating 96 jobs. They've announced that because of Obamacare and the tax on medical devices of 2.3%, that they will be slashing 5% of their global workforce. Now, for Stryker, that means 1,500 jobs. This is big, and it's only one of literally hundreds and hundreds of companies. Now, what's interesting about this is Stryker is a very famous company. It's made famous by the fact that one of the heirs to the company fortune is a man by the name of John Stryker. John Stryker was one of President Obama's top 5 donors in this cycle. Top 5. He contributed, well, $2 million. He contributed to the super PAC, and there's no ideological issue here. This is business, and the company is laying off 5% of its workforce. And I wanted to bring that up just so people understand. This is not petty partisanship. This is real business with real impact on real people. The pain of poorly thought out public policy is tremendous. By the way, did I mention that there's been no discussion in all this time of the 23 million Americans who remain unemployed, underemployed, or who've given up finding a job? Nothing has changed for those folks.
And it doesn't sound like it's going to change for the positive when you look at this. I mean, at the end of the day, this is numbers. They're on a balance sheet. People make business decisions. You mentioned some of the companies. We know about many others, and we're going to actually have someone from the medical device industry on a little bit later to talk about this. And for the first time in the history of these companies, they are going to be laying people off. So when you see these tweets going after Papa John's and Applebee's and saying, you know, you're un-American, you're doing this as a hit job on the president, you're trying to make these layoffs a self-fulfilling prophecy.
There are a group of people in this country who refuse to see reality. They refuse to understand the relationship between cause and effect, politics and economics here. This is not politics. Politics was about getting Obamacare through. Politics was about an election about whether or not to repeal it. Now we're talking about business and economics and consequences. And it's going to be detrimental, as was discussed, day in and day out, seemingly, on the campaign trail. There are no surprises here. Arthur Laffer said it best. When you talk with the medical device industry spokesperson later here, Arthur Laffer said it best, the famous economist who worked for Ronald Reagan. What you want, you should tax. What you don't want as a society, you should tax, and what you do want, you should subsidize. My God, if there's anything we should be subsidizing, it's medical devices and research in medicine and science. And here is the administration coming with a 2.3% tax on companies, many of which are not profitable.
Yeah, and that's just one of many, many taxes tucked into the bill. But of course, more than 3,000 pages, and most members of Congress admit they didn't read it. So,
never read 20 new taxes.
It's good to see you. Thank you so much for weighing in.